And that's because a lifestyle company will never hit.
No, they'll just hit the bar, but they won't hit any ore, So, sorry, just the way I talk.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to Betweenplays Stock Market Strategies. So, for our second interview of 2024, I am pleased to have with us today Mr. Hassan. How are you doing today, Hassan?
I'm great, Albert. How are you doing? Thanks for having me on.
I'm all right. Listen, I'm going to be introducing you, like a little bit of your background, stuff like that. I might be choppy, I might chop it up. I'll let you have some time to fix that right after.
Okay.
Hassan, from what I got here, you're involved in a company North by Northwest. You're a director, and you're involved in acquiring and basically exploring, like in the private sector. You pick these up, right? I might have chopped
Yeah.
this up a bit, but you can fix that up, all right? Today, we're mostly going to be talking about the difficulties, and this is for the public out there, really, in the mining industry, because we can see that you have experience in the mining industry for many years. I mean, you can elaborate on that, and as an investor, but also on the inside. And I really wanted to have this discussion about you. With you. I want to have this discussion with you because of the fact that people, they tend to buy when the stock is up. They tend to buy when spot prices are up, and then naturally there's always this swing when things start coming back down, and there's also the geopolitical and all this kind of stuff. And I like to just mostly focus on those things, if possible. So I chopped up your background. So
It's okay.
if you can just put that out there for all of us.
Sure. Well, I've been involved in this most of my life. Started out as a teenager trading penny stocks
Oh,
a long, long, long time ago. Then got into going out and staking claims and exploring them. And I've done it all over the world, almost on every continent except Antarctica.
wow.
So, so been a lot of places. Um, and what I like to do is try and find the right asset and have a really, really long-term view. And and the challenges of mining is that it's a really, really difficult business, especially on the exploration.
Yeah.
There's tens of thousands of guys like me, hundreds of thousands of guys, and there's only, you can count the really, really super successful ones on one, maybe two hands,
So true.
right?
Yep.
And so there's a super high failure rate. You can still make money. You can, it's always like, it's like regular real estate. If you buy assets at the right price, if you hold on until they start to sell at a premium, where other companies want your assets, you make some money. Um,
Yeah.
that's sort of the basis.
That's so true.
So, so right now the flavor of the week is critical minerals, and I think it'll be the flavor of the week for the next 50 years
Wow.
because we have the world, the politicians of the world have demanded, we fight climate change and we transition to a green economy, and that's everybody wants a clean planet, so there's no argument there.
Yeah, there's no
Uh,
argument
the
there.
problem, the problem is to have a green economy, you have to mine the minerals that make the green economy run.
Well, I mean, can't we just rely on the minerals coming out of China?
No, no. Uh,
That's a good answer. Nope. But that's what
if
we're
you want
doing. But
to,
we've been
if
doing
you
that.
want to,
We've been
if
doing
you
that for
want
10
to,
years. Oh, okay.
if you want to rely on China, and we are all relying on China,
Yeah.
that's the reality. But the problem is that in since 2020, the world has changed.
Big time. Like
You
night and
remember,
day.
and I guess you remember the toilet paper craze with COVID,
Of course. You know
right?
what? You want
Supply, there was no problem with supply. but
I
with
didn't see
the
that one coming, by
psychology.
the way.
I mean, you're going to be stuck at home for 2 weeks. Do you need food, water? No, you need toilet paper, and that's sort of a mass psychosis. And we've been living in this mass psychosis for 35 years, 40 years now, with China becoming the
Yes,
great economic power that it has.
big time.
And having spent a lot of time in China, I mean, it's amazing to see what they've done. But then, do you really want all your eggs in one basket with supply chain issues?
No, no.
And you have an undemocratic, non-Western government, and Western doesn't mean, Europe, North America. It means democratic countries like Japan and others
Yeah.
around the world, right? So you have these democracies and liberal societies who are now pretty much held by the short and curlies by a communist government, dictatorial government, that can turn off your supply of critical minerals.
Well, we've seen them do that to Australia for, I don't remember which one it was, but they had done that in the past. And if they don't like the way things are going, I mean, look, they've done it to us. In 2020, they also did it to us, or 2021. They were unhappy about certain things, and they were just like, well, we're holding this for ourselves. We're not giving this out. I see a big danger there as well. So that means that we need to wake up. We need to wake up. But I mean, when I'm looking at, let's say for lithium, for example, or I'm looking at, I don't know, palladium or stuff, like even scandium. Scandium is important, right? For to make aluminum stronger, which is like a lot of our planes and stuff like that. So why are we not? Are we wait? Are is this a slow transition? Why are we not wake? It seems like we're not waking up. I mean, I see these big, okay, look, Hassan, I see these big oh look, $1 billion is investing towards this, or towards that. But is it because they're announcing that all these billions are being pushed into our market, but we're so much at a beginning stage of everything that naturally it's going to take 5, 10 years to develop. So the money's here now, but we all, because we're in a, I want this right away, right? Society. I want this immediately, society. So is it our mindset that's saying, well, look, we have 50 billion. Why isn't anything being done? But it's because we're just not realizing, yeah, but it takes time. It takes time. What's going on there?
Well, you're right that it takes a long time. It takes a long time to find if you're looking for, it doesn't matter the mineral, gold, nickel, whatever.
Yeah.
Uh, it takes a long time to explore it, drill it out, get a pre-feasibility, a feasibility, your mining permits, your environmental permits, build out the infrastructure, put it into production. That's 15 years, 10, 15 years. It doesn't happen quickly.
Okay.
And in certain jurisdictions like North America, you have this NIMBYism, not
Oh,
in my
yes.
backyard.
That's right.
And you know, it's like the minute you announce you're going to build a mine, two things happen. The shareholders celebrate, they open a pop some champagne,
Yeah.
right? And then the environmentalists run out and they hire lawyers and start lawsuits to slow you down.
Yeah. Injunctions and stuff. Yeah.
And injunctions and this and
Whatever they can.
they bring a lot. I mean, some are legitimate, of course, and some
Yeah.
are frivolous, but all of that, and I'm not picking sides here.
No, of course not. We're
It leads to
discussing.
it leads to a drag that slows it down. Now,
Yeah.
what happens in China?
Oh, it doesn't
Um,
happen in China.
it
If they
doesn't
say
happen.
go ahead, go ahead. That's,
They need to move a town, they move a town.
yeah, and it's so true. It's so true. They
I've
need a
seen it.
city
I've
built,
seen it
they'll
with my
build it
own
up.
eyes. I've been in China where I was sitting in a street, in a hotel, and there was housing for people, and there was a bit of a protest, and the next morning the bulldozers came in. Literally, I saw it with my own nose. The police moved the people out, and the bulldozers knocked the thing down, and 3 weeks later there was a road.
Wow. It's
I
crazy.
saw that. That was in the early 90s
Yeah,
when I was in
exactly. So
China.
imagine how much
So
it's
imagine
advanced.
how much more of that has happened.
Oh, yeah.
So you want to build a lithium processing mine. Well, it takes a lot of energy. It takes much more energy than a steel mill, right? And so what is China do? They want to process critical minerals. How much power do they need? They just build a bunch of coal-fired plants around it.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
right. Yeah, yeah,
Try building. I don't care which political party it would be. I'm
yes,
apolitical, right?
yeah,
Uh, they said we're going to put up a mineral processing plant to become independent in critical minerals, but we need to build 5 coal plants to fire it, or a nuclear power plant,
Snap.
or a hydro. Doesn't matter what the source is. It's not going to be, it's not going to fly through the system and be approved. It's just going to be go on with forever
Yeah,
and
there's
ever
red tape
and
and
ever.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that's sort of a Achilles heel we have in the West.
Uh, so if we look at that, and we have these mining companies, maybe we'll take a step back actually, because I have two things I think that are interesting that we should talk about. So if we look at lithium on a basis for an example, we'll take it as an example commodity because it's just happened in a lot of it's such a
Yeah.
craze, and it probably will be again. So we'll use that, and then naturally you can look at all the other commodities, and pretty much they all work the same way. So if we look at it, we saw this over quintupling of lithium within an 18-month period. Huge craze, right? And now it's back down to like 2019 levels, let's just say. And we had a massive amount of lithium companies or wannabe companies that started coming up when the lithium spot price was at peak. Okay. But now we're probably going to be wiping out a ton of these lithium companies because they're probably going to say, well, look, it's not worth it anymore. I mean, because the spot price is so low. Some of them might go bankrupt. Some of them might just be like, oh no, forget about it. I'm going to get into something else or whatever. Is this good for the lithium? Like, let's say any commodity, it doesn't have to be lithium, but like right now we're talking about lithium, but isn't it like a cleanup of the sector, and then only those that have fundamentals are the only ones you can pick from? And isn't that good for the investor in the long run?
Well, this is sort of the business cycle of junior exploration.
Yeah, that's it. That's right. Yeah, there you go.
Companies find assets that they can get funding for. And if your commodity is a flavor of the day, and you have a half decent project with a half decent management team and a reasonably good structure in your public vehicle, yeah, you can raise a lot of money. The flavor seems to have changed. Everyone's now running away from lithium to uranium.
Yes.
Okay. It was the same thing a few years ago in the cannabis space. All the mining companies changed their names and became, you know,
Cultivators.
a, we're, and you had guys that, I remember looking at some websites of, I never participated in that space because I don't understand it. And, I don't use any kind of
Yeah,
cannabis.
telehealth companies became cannabis
Yeah,
companies.
yeah, and I'm
Mining
a cigar
companies
guy,
became tele.
so
Yes, that's right.
I'll
So
I'll
this is
be
exactly what we're getting at. That's right. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
so I'm a cigar guy, so I'll do great when the cigar boom comes in one day, I hope. But otherwise,
like I said,
you know,
that would be great.
that would
A
be
good
great for
cigar
me,
boom.
but I don't think our federal government would allow it. But
No.
anyway, so the flavor changes.
Yeah.
But where you make your money is if you believe in the fundamentals of let's just say lithium. If you believe there'll be many more lithium batteries used in the future
Yes.
in battery storage, EVs,
Yeah.
devices, all sorts of other products, right? If you genuinely believe in that and you believe that
In a
the future,
compounded in a compounded annual growth rate, let's just say, in this
yeah,
sector. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
even at a low compounding rate,
That's
okay?
right.
At
Yeah.
a low compounding rate. If
Yes.
you believe that there'll be more EVs in the market in 10 years than there are now,
Yes.
it comes down to, okay, what's your strategy? Are you going to invest in a company that somebody you heard talking about on the street? that you don't know? Or are you going to look into the industry, do your research? Who are the biggest miners? Who are the biggest processors? What are the areas? What are the juniors that have the best assets? Okay, what are the juniors that have drilled out assets? Which ones have the most likelihood of becoming a takeover target in the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years? If you have a strategy, you'll do fine because junior companies run to where they can get funding.
Yes.
And as an investor, like the private companies I'm involved in, and we're private, so I'm not promoting anything, and we may stay private forever. So, I'm not worried about the day to day of the commodity fluctuation. We've gone out after assets that we believe have the potential to be a mine, have the potential to attract a bigger player in the future. This is looking at it as a private company.
Yeah, as a
Okay.
private company. That's right.
Um, and so you as an investor have to look at juniors that are public that have assets, and you have to say, you have to do a lot of work. You just can't sit at home, watch two guys talk on TV or YouTube and be you've got to go in and do your own research. And if you don't,
Agree.
you're just throwing your money out the window, in my
I
opinion.
agree. I agree. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So if you believe that critical minerals are gonna be a long-term investment, you have to do your research.
Yeah.
And you have to find companies that aren't going to change their business model
For the
every time
flavor.
the commodity price goes up and down and up and down.
That's right. For the flavor of the day. Correct.
Yeah, stay away
Yeah.
from the flavor of the day.
That's right. That's right. And so, um, uh, that's so true. And look, I'm not, I do have a contract with them. I mean, you know that, and other people know that, and I'm just going to bring it up. But that's one of the reasons why BRW for myself is that type of company, or a company like PMET, which I have no contract with whatsoever, or I don't get anything from
Yeah.
them. I'm just talking about fundamentals of a company, management, money in the bank, all this kind of stuff. I'm not trying to knock off any of the other competitors because I haven't, I didn't verify everybody that's out there. But
You
these are
can't, it's
just
too hard.
types. Yeah, exactly. But these are the types of things that we're looking at. Like, not, I mean, not, everything you just said, basically, not like the swings, the flavor of the day, looking for fundamentals and principles and stuff like that. So the spot price going down to where it is right now, I think it's good in a sense. So it cleans out the sector, and then we only see those that are left standing, which also helps in our strategies in order to figure out our investment decisions. And look, I don't think, Hassan, I don't think EVs are going anywhere. I mean, we have the Paris Accord agreements, and we got like all these climate agreements around the world. I mean, we have critical mineral lists now with the United States. So the geopolitical, as well as the climate, if you want to call it political message, or fact, whatever everything is out there, it just seems to me that critical minerals, for geopolitical reasons, the EV trend when it comes to, let's say, the climate agenda, and you know what, maybe also eras. Every society lived in a different type of era, right? The industrial age and all this kind of stuff. And we were coming into like the digitization age, like I call it, because when you look at Internet of Things, vehicles play a huge part in that. And it's the future of everything being linked up digitally. And that's where they want the cars to go to.
So you want a little history lesson?
Go for it.
So when you study history, what was the thing that took us out of the caves and into towards modern civilization? What was it called?
I don't know.
The Bronze Age.
Oh, that's right. So yeah, we're talking
Metal.
ages. Okay, yeah, yeah. The Bronze Age. That's right. Yeah,
Then it was the Iron Age,
that's right. All ages.
right?
Yeah,
And then that changed at the end of World War II with the atomic age,
correct.
uranium.
Yes. Yeah,
Now we're in the digital age
yeah. We
slash
are. We're
slash
beginning.
mineral age.
Yeah.
So
That's right.
what does the digital age and the critical mineral age need? Copper,
They need. Oh yeah. Well, yes,
gold,
yes,
lithium,
yeah.
rare
Phos-
earths,
phosphoric acid, manganese,
manganese.
scandium.
So basically, technological development has always relied in some form on the ability to mine, process, and utilize minerals.
Yes.
That's never going to change,
No.
right?
No. No. And you got to look for
So,
the demand sectors, and it's the ones we pretty
so,
much named.
so the thing is, the world, in 50 years is going to be, look, we can't even imagine how much different it's going to look. But they're going to have a lot of clean stuff, and it's the irony is, sometimes politicians, when they make these decisions, they have some 25-year-old graduate student give them like some cheat sheet notes, and they go up and say something and they don't really know what they're talking about.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
And it applies to all political parties. I'm
Yeah.
neutral,
No. 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 We're yeah. 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 No. We're
right?
neutral on the show too.
And if any politicians are upset with me, well, I'm sure they can find me in whatever, send their
We're
goons over.
We're
I don't
neutral
care.
on the show too, so it's all
We're
good.
neutral.
That's right.
So what happens is they all say we want to go green. And Canada's announced, I don't know, how many tens of billions of dollars in subsidies for battery plants?
Oh, it's coming. It's all. I don't know the numbers, but it's
It's
big.
tens of billions,
It's yeah.
tens
It's
and
big.
tens and tens of billions of commitments.
That's right.
One problem,
Yeah.
one problem.
Quebec
You
too.
know what the big problem is? We do not process lithium value-added products in Canada.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
where
We
do they come from?
probably
China.
China. Yeah. No, there's definitely
Why
issue.
are we not, why are we not processing, having a program to build a processing facility,
We should. We need.
right?
Yeah.
So they spend $100 billion on subsidizing battery plants
Yeah.
for EVs that are yet to be built. A big chunk of that money should be going in to help the mining industry in the mining and in the processing.
Yeah.
Because without the processing, again, we are reliant on a very fragile supply chain in this, in this time in our lives. Because 10 years ago, no one worried about China. Now everybody's worried about China.
Oh
The
yeah.
world
They
has
have them.
changed. I mean, the world's a much more dangerous place, I think, than it was in 2019. The world's gone
Wow.
through a hell of a lot of stuff
Oh yeah.
since.
Yeah. We have
And
a lot more
so
changes coming.
you need stability. And saying we got battery plants, we're going to subsidize a battery plant. Well, great, but if you're still buying all your processed materials from a
Yeah.
country that you just banned by investing in your mining sector,
Oh,
like we have in Canada, I mean,
it makes no sense. It's like you're
it
cutting
makes
off
I
the hand that you
I'm a
need.
simple I'm a simple guy,
Yeah.
right? I walk around putting rocks in bags, so I don't understand some of this stuff, okay?
Well, makes no
But
sense. But wait, it
it makes no
logically
sense
makes
to
no
me.
sense.
No,
You can't say, oh, you can't invest in any of our companies, but hey, can you give us some of the finished end product of what you guys are doing? Like,
yeah, no, we
no,
can't have our, and the irony is that you've got people flying around on private jets telling us to take the bus,
that's
and
a
then
whole
telling
other
us to
yeah,
buy
yeah,
products
yeah.
from a country that has 1,200 or more coal-fired plants, and they're building one a week
Well,
for our
look,
great economy.
I agree with you, but you know what, Hassan? Honestly, I just I think that our conversation is basically based saying that right now things are starting to stink, but it's also the time that you should be looking at to invest.
Yeah, so you were talking about Brunswick and PMET. So, full disclosure, I don't own shares in any of them. I'm fully invested in my private companies and what I do. Okay. I'm not rich enough to have this portfolio in a family office like some people, like I wish I did, right? So, like we all wish we did.
Yeah.
So you look at PMET. Albemarle put in $109 million. They've got, I can't remember. I don't want to be misleading or incorrect, but it's something like 109 million inferred or something tons, and they're still drilling, so that number is going to go up. And Albemarle has taken a piece of the action. Uh, Obviously, they're a takeover target with a huge player in the industry as sort of an anchor investor slash shareholder now. I don't know all of the details on their deal, but what's that done is it's turned James Bay into a region of, it's elephant territory, as they say,
Yeah.
you know, and you have all these juniors from all over the world, the Australians in particular, who really come in, and I don't know what the numbers are, but last summer they must have spent tens, if not of hundreds of millions of dollars in drill programs in the area.
Yes.
Now, PMET was a great deal at $15 a share.
True.
It's probably three times better on a long-term basis because it's gone down by at least a third, two-thirds now.
Oh yeah.
So it's
Oh yeah.
like $5 a share. I'm not sure. I haven't checked
You know,
today.
I could even get those numbers up right now as you're talking. So,
Sure. So fundamentally, PMET with the drill bit is proving out a huge resource.
oh, massive.
And the short-term fluctuation of the spodumene spot price, the carbonate hydroxide price, manipulated by China. Long term, is Canada and the US going to rely on those facilities in China, or are they going to say, we're putting 100 billion, 50, $100 billion into our battery plants, and we have them literally up the road.
Yeah,
They just
exactly.
have to build an extension on a railway or improve a highway, whatever, to get it down to an area where they can process it. And the processing in Canada, like everything Canada does, will be on a much higher standard. We have the cleanest oil in the world that everybody complains about. We have the cleanest processing. We have among the highest environmental laws. Why wouldn't Canada become a leader in that?
I don't know,
We've
but
got
like
James Bay and Quebec, next to British Columbia, the gods of hydroelectricity. It doesn't get
so
any cleaner.
true, so true. Clean energy, and I'm just looking, Hassan, at the price within the last month. The low from the last few years since it's shot up,
Yeah.
is $5.77, which hit around February 2nd, and today we're at $7.31. So it's
What was the high? What was the high
shot up.
last year?
Last year's
About
high. Hold on,
17,
let's take
$18?
a look. So hold on, let me just check this. $17.74 according to Yahoo Finance. 17.74, around close to the $18 mark. And I'm sure that if I go and I look at, give me a second, let me just go take a look at the candles, because then you'll probably see the wick will probably
Yeah, yeah.
be very close to. So we're looking here. 1 second at 17 something. Okay, here we are. So if I look at this, yeah, so the wick is basically going, yeah, really close to the $18 mark. So that's, we
Yeah,
were,
you might want to post it on the screen so everyone can see and understand what you're talking about if somebody doesn't know what candlestick analysis is.
that's true. I should do that.
You
I'll
should
put
do
that
that.
up on the screen. Absolutely. And so yeah, that's it. So exactly. So look, people would have bought at 577.
Yeah.
You're already
So if
making money.
so if you are a speculator and you got in, the taxi driver, the Uber driver told you to buy PMET at $15 and you were hoping for it to double and went down to 5 or 7. Not good, right? But
Yeah.
if you got into PMET because you think 3 or 5 years from now, one of the majors is going to buy them out. It looks like Albemarle, they put 109 plus million in there now.
Yeah.
If they're going to buy them out, they're not going to buy them out at a discount. They usually, if you go back in the history of mining companies that have hit huge ore bodies, they're taken out at huge premiums. Huge premiums. That's where these great mining fortunes come from.
Okay, so what you're
So
saying is that, just so that the people out there understand this whole premium conversation, is that about not buying them out at the discount? Is that so? What we're saying is that if a company is, let's say, like PMET, for example,
yeah,
is at, let's say, $5. So what you're saying is that these big companies that come in, when they're doing a buyout, they'll buy them out at a higher rate, like because it's the in order for shareholders and everybody to be happy, is that what so that way there's not so like Zijin. So basically Zijin, when they
Exactly.
bought out Neolithium, I think the
Yep.
stock was around $5 or something or whatever, but they bought them at 650. It could have been at four something too, and they bought them at 650,
Yeah. There's
and that was
usually
at a premium. Okay.
yeah, but the way it usually works is for, we're talking about junior explorers. Okay.
Okay. Okay. All right. So
So
can
a
we
junior
can we consider
explorer,
that PMET's a junior explorer right now since they
yes.
have this
I,
big
I,
deposit?
I, I yeah, you would there may be, don't be fooled by the share price. They're still drilling. They still have tens of thousands of meters, if not 100,000 meters or more of drilling that they're going to probably do
That's crazy.
because they want to get to a defined resource.
It just doesn't
Okay.
stop though. They got like CV5, CV12, CV9.
Yeah.
They
Yeah. So they'll be drilling it for a long time. But the more they drill it, the larger the resource, the confirmation of the grades, they'll have to get to a preliminary economic
assessment.
assessment.
Yeah, PA.
Somewhere on that journey to that PEA, okay, one of the majors, Albemarle has already done this, is going to say, we want a piece of this or all of it.
Oh yeah, for sure, absolutely.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I missed all my payments on the crystal ball, so I can't see into the future, right? So, so at some point, there's going to be consolidation in the James Bay area, in the Northwest Territories around Yellowknife, where I'm active,
Yeah.
in around Snow Lake in Manitoba, these other regions around the world. The majors are going to come in and they're going to pick up the most advanced, proven deposits to put into production because no junior can go out and borrow $1 billion or $2 billion to do this.
Correct.
Even Nemaska, I think, was a Quebec pension fund, you're in
Yeah,
that
the
neighborhood.
mask.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Nemaska ended up, what was it, cost them at the end of the day, $2 billion?
Yeah, it was a lot of money. Yeah,
Yeah, I
something
mean,
like that, a
juniors
lot of
can't
money.
do that. So,
Yeah.
the strategy for most juniors is find a great asset, bring it to a point where everybody wants to buy it, and let people buy it off you at a premium and tell you to go away and
So
try and gain.
so basically, I like the word consolidate before you were mentioning consolidate. So and then it comes back to everything we were saying before about the list, like okay, regardless of which one it is, but if let's say right now we're using lithium as an example,
Yeah, we're just using it as a benchmark.
as a benchmark. So basically the spot price comes down after this big high. You have all these companies, let's say you have 100 something companies, because everybody's opened up because everybody wants the flavor of the day.
Yeah.
Most of these start, coming out because now the spot price is down. It's not affordable. It's not the flavor of the day. We're out, we're out, we're out. So already you have a ton of them that leave. Then you're left with a few that remain in the sector. But then you have to look at who are your PMETs and in my the ones I also like BRW. So who's also the BRWs, and then look at who else is also left because what ends up happening is at the end, as this moves forward, we're going to see who's the most advanced. We're going to see the ones that are capable of holding on, going out, most advanced, and all these things, because that's what the big boys, the majors, they're going to want to come now and go get those ones. So what you're basically saying to me, if I'm trying to reason this all out, and now you're talking about experience, we're using this as a benchmark, but this happens in all other areas when you're looking at commodities. Okay. So
Yeah.
in my situation, all right, like naturally, I own shares of BRW. So does my wife. So do other people that I know. When I look at the way you're reasoning this, a company that has people like Robert Wares, that has Killian Charles, that Robert, Mr. Wares, he went and developed the Malartic, which I know
Yeah.
all this history, all these people. So
I don't know
um,
them all, but I know of them,
yes, okay. And then you look at the money inside the company. You look at the aggressivity of something like BRW. I would put them as one of those types of companies to look forward to over time, where a major might want to come out and then buy them out on a premium because they'll have an asset, something of that nature, right? Because some people can't afford, let's say, $7.13. So they're looking for the ones that are in the more, well, even seven something is day traders will, some of them will consider still penny stock range. Other people will say, no way, it's under five. Some say it's 15, but it depends on how much money you have in your pocket.
You know what? I think that's an irrelevant
Okay.
argument.
Okay. Okay.
Uh, it's irrelevant because if you're making one of these investments
Okay.
and you've taken the time to do your homework, and it takes a lot of time. I mean, I spend hours a day just researching.
Oh,
Okay,
I know
hours
what you
every
mean.
day.
I know what you
Okay,
mean. It tires me out.
so and we'll just talk about BRW because you know it intimately, and I know your audience does. So BRW, they're doing what a good junior does, which is spend all their money in the ground. They're not a lifestyle company.
Good point.
Okay. Many of the lifestyle companies are shifting over to uranium or something else right now because they can't get funded.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Good
They
point.
got great cars, but they got to sell their shares to fill it out with fuel, be it electricity or be it whatever. There's a lot of those guys. Okay.
It's so funny,
I'm serious,
but it's just
but that's
funny.
the truth.
Yeah, it's true, but it's funny.
So you've got guys like PMET, and I know the story, and I know some of the directors of PMET going back to the very beginning.
Wow.
Okay.
Yes.
Um, One of the former directors is a good friend of mine. I have coffee with him 3, 4 days a week.
Well, isn't
Okay.
Dushan Burka around your area?
Yes, he's a good friend. He's a
Yeah,
wonderful guy.
he's an
A
amazing
wonderful
guy.
man.
He's an amazing guy.
Yeah. So you have a team there that's spending all their money drilling. And the thing is, when you do that, 9 out of 10 times, you don't get the results that PMET got. You get heartache. Everyone tells you you're an idiot. You shouldn't have done that. There's an old saying in the market.
That's funny.
The best way to kill a good property is to drill it. Okay. There's a lot of promoters that do that. Okay.
Oh wow.
So BRW, PMET, and we're just using them as a sort of reference points.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, that's it. Yeah, because I.
They're just
Yes.
reference points.
Yes.
They've gone out and they've been very, very fortunate, and they've got, basically good management. They're getting good results. And I don't care if the stock is $30 or 30 cents. The shareholders should be happy with them because on this trajectory, at some point, they're going to be taken out. Now, what's changing a lot in this cycle with these critical minerals that you did not have before is if you were exploring for uranium, and I was involved in that a long time ago, the guys that would buy you out would be Areva of France, the big international uranium companies.
Okay.
Okay. With critical minerals, you now have mining companies that want to buy you out. I'm talking the majors and super majors.
Yes.
You have chemical companies because Albemarle is as much a chemical company as it is a mining company.
So true. People don't realize that, but you're right.
Okay. There's a lot of rumors that Elon Musk is flying around the world trying to inspecting and considering buying his own supply of lithium and processing his own lithium. So you've got
Makes sense.
automakers, chemical companies, mining companies, and because of the geopolitics of the world, and we're on a bad track with China, but
Yep.
having spent a lot of time in China, there's wonderful people there. We could be on a good track with China. This could all go away next week. You never know. You can't predict the future.
True.
But the way the world is going, these small junior explorers that had an audience of, I don't know, 5 to 50 companies that would take them out in the past, have hundreds, if not thousands, of international companies
Yeah,
all over the world that
yeah,
are saying, we need to be a part of this.
it's true. It's true that when you
And,
read it, when you read it, it makes sense because you see it, like some of the car companies and stuff, you see it, but when you talk about it, then it really comes into your mind going, yes, it's very true. It's not the same game.
it's different now. This is only my opinion, okay? And
Yeah, no, that's it. We're having a
free
conversation.
opinions are worth, right?
We're having a
But
conversation.
yeah, so you've got great, like Canada is blessed with great critical mineral assets. And at some point, they're all going to be consolidated because the juniors just don't have the bandwidth, the fundraising capacity, the depth of management.
Yeah,
Whereas, I can tell you that some of the largest mining companies in the world have staked around some of my mining claims, and
okay.
they're the big names. And I'll give you an example. In Brazil, Rio Tinto went out and staked unbelievable amounts of hundreds of thousands of hectares in Brazil for lithium and critical minerals. They
Yeah,
normally don't go out staking a lot of claims. They usually wait for the juniors to shoot themselves in the head and pick up their assets.
well, it makes sense though, right? I mean,
Yeah,
you know, makes sense.
yeah. And so, long as, even if the the climate crisis was solved tomorrow morning, okay, we don't have to worry about it.
Yeah,
The train has left the station. The world is on the road to electrification.
I believe it too. Yeah,
Okay,
even yes.
and so if you have a long-term strategy, you know, you have to research. And my advice to your audience is, don't mortgage the house and sell the
No,
car and buy any one stock.
no, no.
Put $500 here and $500 there and forget about it.
True.
Diversify the portfolio.
Yeah,
Buy 100 shares of Albemarle.
yeah.
Buy 10 shares of this whatever. Don't go crazy and blow your brains out because you, without knowing, invested in a lifestyle company, and next week the fad is, strip clubs in Mongolia, and so everyone's trying to set up a strip club in Mongolia.
Yeah,
You know,
that's right.
don't do the fad of the day. I mean, if you want to be invest in junior exploration companies, it's a lot of research, and listen to everybody, but then sit down and make your own strategy based on your specific circumstances and what you can do and what you can't. And you don't need $1 million. You can do it for 500. You know,
Yeah,
you, you know, you want to buy, you like the PMET story and you don't have a lot of money, buy 100 shares.
that's
That's it.
you know what you remind me of right now. You remind me of something that Warren Buffett said. You know, if you buy into something that you believe, into a company you believe, for the story, you just the fact that you believe in it, it's something that you want to see grow. It's something, you know, you're never gonna like you you'll always regret just throwing your money into something and it doesn't work out, because you didn't like it. Let's say you threw your money into a company that you didn't like the story, you don't like whatever, but people are saying, man, it's gonna go up, and then you lose your money. You're gonna regret that. You're never gonna forget it. But
Guilty, guilty,
yeah,
guilty.
and then he says, but if you put your money into something that you believe in and that you like the story and you want to be a part of it, even if it doesn't happen, you're going to go, damn, I really wish that would have worked out. It's a different feeling.
Yeah. The thing is, if you get into this sort of industry, you have to get in with a mindset that you shouldn't follow the stock minute by minute.
Like most
Okay?
people do. Like,
That's what most people do.
yeah,
So what you got to do is buy it. Say you buy 1,000 shares at 20 cents. Okay?
yeah,
Because you met the company or you researched the company, they got a property in an area that looks good. You call them up, you listen to their spiel, you talk to some other people, you did your research.
yeah,
Always do your research, right?
yeah, exactly.
Great. Forget about it. Go look for the next one to put $200 or $500 into.
Yeah,
Okay? Because it takes a long time for these. If you have a if you have a good investment with, if you've got the right group of people, you got a good asset, they're in James Bay. PMET didn't do great for a long time.
Yeah, I know.
I've been on some other assets up in you know, the Northwest Territories. They've got Hidden Lake up there. They've got property up there, and they've got a JV with Loyal Lithium, and I know all those guys, and again, Loyal Lithium's a great little company, great management, very capable. But these are talented, capable people who really know what they're doing, and they're going to spend all their money drilling. It takes a year or two. So you're not going to get instant results, you know? And this is where, if you have a mindset where you're just going to go in and day trade or you know, trade it for a week or a month or six, forget it. You're going to lose your shirt. It
Yeah,
doesn't work out.
no, it's and yeah, and yeah, and a lot of people end up selling when it goes into the red, and then they regret not, selling when it was in the green. And even in those cases, people, even if it's not a long term mentality, let's just say, it's for some traders, it it's they don't have that strategy to pull when it's green, because they go, oh, maybe it's going to go up more and more and more and more. Anyways, in all cases,
You don't know.
no,
You know,
you don't know.
you don't know what's going to happen. Usually the best way
No,
to buy it is follow groups, follow companies. When they're not trading very much and they're putting out press releases and they're not getting a lot of response, but if you read the press release, they're trying to go into the right area, they're trying to get the right kind of property, they're trying to do the right things. Do your research on those guys, and if they've had one or two successes, in the past, a few years before, or whatever, and they're trading at 5 or 10 or 20 cents, even
yeah,
I know a lot of the people that involved in some of these companies. So like PMET was at, I don't know, 35, 40 cents.
yeah,
And it was like, I remember it was a lot less than that 3, 4 years ago when I looked at it. Now
that's
I
right.
never bought any shares, so too bad for me. But uh and then
Uh,
they had a good week, and it just shot up from 35 cents.
Crazy,
And
eh?
they got financing, and they got great results.
Yeah,
And to their credit, they spent their money drilling that place like a Swiss cheese.
yeah,
I have no idea how many rigs they've got on it right now, and I'm pretty sure they're going to keep drilling it till the cows come home.
yeah.
But that company's, you
They're
can
not a
see,
lifestyle company.
no, but you can
No,
see that that company at a certain point, Rio Tinto, BHP, uh, Mercedes Benz.
they're all looking.
Yes. Albemarle's given him $109 million. Now, if that's not a vote of confidence on a junior company, I don't know what the hell is.
Seriously, and it's
Seriously,
Albemarle. Like, come on.
right?
Yeah.
And then your other favorite, BRW. Well, I've looked at all their properties,
Yes, I
right?
know that.
They
Yeah,
got great properties,
yeah.
And then when I say I've looked at them, it's not like, oh, I know what the hell I'm doing with it. I've looked at them with a bunch of geologists who've been there, and we've done a lot of research. And we pick some up nearby, but we're private. Okay.
Good. Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
but and then, so that's kind of what you have to look at is you got to have our strategy is we are literally searching the world for the best semi-advanced properties that have been forgotten by other people.
And that's for North by Northwest, right? That's your private
North by
company.
Northwest, and there's yeah.
Yeah.
And so we just got a couple, we just picked up 3 claims in Brazil, in Lithium Valley, in a great spot.
Ooh,
We put a little press release. But we're private. And it's really just to sort of the press release wasn't to attract investors or anything. It was just to let our neighbors who are majors now, because we're next door to Sigma, know that we're around.
that's right. That's good. Oh,
That's
I
right.
see
And we
that.
have our drill targets, and we hope to be drilling them by the summer.
Hey, listen,
So
that's good.
But again,
Very
what
good.
we're doing is extremely, extremely high risk because we can drill it and you don't know what's going to come out.
Well,
And I've been involved in lots of projects where we drilled it and just, went home crying.
well, listen, I mean, high risk. I mean, if you think about it,
Yeah.
did Amazon not take high risk? Yes. Did Nvidia not take some, high risk to do with it? Yes. Everyone at, Berkshire Hathaway, yeah, oh, if you even in the Ray Dalio story, like on how he started his company, um, everybody all high risk, but that's no risk. There's no gains.
No, but you see, so we have
It's
to
got to be
sort of
calculated risk.
talk about risk for a minute.
That's true. I agree.
So,
It's important.
when you get a property and you're going to drill it,
Yeah.
you have no idea what's 10 meters, 20 meters, 500 meters, you know, down. And you don't know if that ore body is just a tiny little ore body and you got lucky with one hole down the middle, or if it's spread out like, say, Hemlo was all over the place, and you open up three, four, five international.
Hemlo, that was a company you told me to research, right?
Yeah, some of the homework I gave you, yeah.
Yeah, it
So
was amazing.
Hemlo was
Love that
one of
story,
the
man.
biggest discoveries of the
Just so
80s.
I just want people out there to know that look at the story of Hemlo. It's really interesting.
Yeah, it's on. You can look at YouTube
I'll
on
put the link that you sent me. I'll put it down in the
Sure.
description below.
So you don't know if the ore body's very small or it's all over the place with lithium, the spodumene. You can see that surface in places like Quebec and the territories, and you can literally walk on the pegmatites and see it.
Yes.
Okay. Well, the thing is how much of it is there? Is it there at depth? Is it there at width? Is there enough to get to 10, 15 million tons? Which then you can start saying, hey, based on the price, we may or may not have a mine. With PMET at 109 million tons, well, they got several mines there, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But so you've got a property, you're going to drill it. Okay. Now, you have the way you mitigate risk is you drill, you get some mediocre results. Do you keep drilling it or you take your money and you put it into another property? Okay. Or uh, do you like Hemlo, the story is lots of the majors drilled it and hit nothing. And then Murray Pesum came along with a couple of prospectors from Ontario who took him the property. And I think they drilled, was it 90 holes and got nothing? 89 holes and got nothing. And I'm just doing it from memory from a long, long time ago.
Yes.
I think it was on the 90th hole they hit.
Yes.
And that produced, I think, three world-class gold mines that operated each for more than 30 years. So the exploration company has to do a lot of work to mitigate risk,
Yes.
right? And then as an investor, you have to say, is this team capable of not only drilling it, but then managing the risk that comes with the drilling? And those are hard things for individual investors to do.
Yeah.
So my advice is go to all the local resource shows and the companies you're investing in, meet the management. If it's possible for you, if you live in Toronto, Vancouver, Montreal, and they have these resource shows, if you
Yeah.
live in Val-d'Or, Quebec, go visit the
Yeah.
mines.
Yeah.
Val-d'Or is an amazing area, you know.
Yeah.
If you're in the US, go to Northern Nevada on the Carlin Belt. You see one mine after another mine, all along the
Wow.
highway.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
Wow.
I like to visit mines.
Yeah.
I visited a lot of mines all over the world in my time. Still
That's
do. It's
awesome.
kind of my day job.
Well, it's true. Risk is a very important factor, and even for the people in their portfolio, they should weigh, sectors and risk amongst where they're putting their money in their own portfolio. That's
Yeah,
very
you know
important.
what? Buy some, you shop at Costco, buy 10 Costco shares. You go to whichever bank you go to, buy 10 shares. Right? Because these are stable, long-term, low-risk investments.
Mhm.
Mining exploration is high risk.
Yeah,
Put dollars into the blue chips, put pennies into the juniors
I see what you're
exploration.
saying. I see what you're saying. It's interesting.
Okay. Uh, you know, don't be the guy that blows his brains out on a hot tip. You know,
Yeah.
you don't want to do that.
I
I've
understand what
seen
you're
a lot
saying.
of guys do that.
Yep.
I've seen a lot of guys do that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Oh boy.
I wasn't
So
trying to be funny.
well, it is funny. Because it's true. Like I've heard some stories, and that's just the way it goes. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I'm sure everybody that's in investing has a story like that. Everybody. Anyways,
So
yep,
one rule, I used to hear this a lot from
yeah.
guys I used to do when I was much younger, when I still had hair, no gray, Anyway, so one of the things I used to do is, oh, me and my team were so good, we're always, we do great, we do great. They're lying. They don't know. Most guys, most successful guys, it's like, Babe Ruth, he was a great hitter, right? How many times did he strike out? You strike out a lot. If you invest with a group and they strike out because they spent the money in the property drilling, that's fine. If they spent the money on a ski holiday in Switzerland, that's not
Life
so good,
lifestyle company.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So it's hard to weed those out. It really is.
but
I still get sucked in by some once in a while. So,
but no, no,
it
it's
happens.
everybody's gonna have a hard time with that. But
Yeah.
that's something that's very important that everybody, in this conversation, this is something that people should take away is that they need to start filtering out lifestyle companies versus who's putting the money in the ground. And if it's a hit, it's a hit. And if you have misses, well, you know what? It doesn't matter because eventually, if a company's aggressive like that, eventually, hopefully, one day they will hit. And that's because a lifestyle company will never hit.
No, no, they'll just hit the bar, but they won't hit any ore, So, sorry, just the way I talk. I can't help it. So
I love
I've
it.
been
I love
around
it.
too many of those guys.
I love it, Hassan. I love it. I love it a lot. This is
So,
a great conversation. I'm telling you, it's
well, I
amazing.
hope I haven't bored you guys to death, but
No, no, no.
you might
People
want to
should
delete
watch
this
this and
afterwards.
take it away from
Your
because it's
wife, your
amazing.
wife might tease you. No, yeah, this is not going to go on. You'll kill your career.
Absolutely not. Actually, I think
I'm
that
kidding. I'm
I
kidding.
think it's the
I,
complete reverse.
I'm kidding.
All
No,
right.
and the other thing is, look, um, the other thing if your audience is going to look at these projects, look at these companies, one perspective I always have is would I want to be involved in it? You know, what is so unique in this company from the other 5,000 juniors, 10,000 juniors, that makes me want to be part of it?
Yeah,
Okay.
true.
You know what I don't like to see? And everybody does it, and because they have to, is you get 9 pages of you get the PowerPoint presentation or slide deck, whatever the hell you call it today. They change the name on this stuff on me
Yeah,
every day.
slides, PowerPoint,
Whatever,
same. Yeah,
it'll be called a Rolodex tomorrow. I don't know. And you'll get 15 reasons why this mineral or this category of minerals is so important and the demand and blah blah blah. Right? And then you get 1 to 5 slides about their project.
yeah,
I like to see presentations where there's 1 to 2, maybe 3 slides about the market, the commodity, whatever. But I want to see 20 slides about their project. I want them to drill down into this hole, that hole, why it's good. Is it a good project because you're like in James Bay or Snow Lake or the Yellowknife area,
yeah.
or
Geopolitical
or,
stability.
or in Brazil, which is hot right now?
Yeah, true.
Um, what is about it? I want to see the regional geology maps. I want
Exactly.
to
You want to
I
learn?
yeah, and I want to be able to phone their geologists and ask him a couple of questions. And something we have recently that I never had in my life growing up was get on Chat
Access.
GPT and say, hey, what do I ask a geologist to determine if his property is any good?
Smart. Very smart.
Do that.
Utilizing technology for to get the good questions for
Exactly.
information.
Exactly.
Smart.
You do things just because you don't know much about the subject. Well, if you're interested, you should go out and learn about the subject, take a prospecting course someplace,
Yep.
or what I like to do a lot is get a gold pan. They're like 25, $30 and go to a river and pan for gold.
Oh, that would be fun, actually.
It's a lot of fun. I've done it
Yeah.
all over the world. All
Well,
over the world.
you know what, Hassan? I think that on that note, because it's a very positive note, we're running out of time actually.
That's fine,
So
man.
um listen, honestly, come back on the show again because so much interesting things to talk about. And you know what? Maybe the next time we could talk about Hemlo.
Sure.
I'd love to be able to talk about Hemlo because such an interesting story, and especially from your perspective because you know that story very well.
Yeah. I was
All
a
right.
kid at the time, but I used to hang around with the guys who were involved in it.
And that's what I like to hear, that those kind of stories are awesome. Plus we'll learn, and experience is just the best way of learning things. So thanks, Hassan.
My pleasure.
I'll see you again on Between
See
Plays.
you
So
soon.
everybody, always remember: research, prepare, plan, execute. Thank you, Hassan. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Bye.
Between Plays, it's the journey and what you do between where you are and where you want to be. Research, prepare, plan, and execute your strategy. Do your DD and stay strong in visualizing and achieving your goals. Our strategy is unique since 2020. An original concept imitated, never duplicated. Real conversations with media influencers, educational and expert speakers, analysts and consultants. Between Plays, bridging the gap between companies and investors.